Okay. House prefabs. Heavy load. Articulated trailer. Well, let's do it. It seems like a relatively straight shot. Oh, it's a double. Okay. That's not so bad. Let's look at our route here. Yeah, it's a relatively straight shot. Shouldn't be that big of a deal. Okay. Well, I can't see to my right. Hello? No problem. Trying to see where I came up to on the stop line there. Are you guys stopped? What are you doing? Okay, that's the turn lane. Probably should not boop the police officer. Boop! Give him a little love tap. Hey, I get to go first. Awesome.
I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite
streamer on Twitch.
Hey, what's up, Skid? Thanks for the resub, man. Been super busy. You don't have to explain that to me, man. It's all good. Gotta make that money. Hmm. 40 months, I know, right? Almost 4 years. That's crazy. Not quite up to speed yet. Almost. Hey, what's up, Montana? You want to send me on Discord, if you want to send me whatever case and cooler you've got right now, I can give you some suggestions if you want, but I'll leave that up to you. It 80 Celsius while gaming's not that crazy. I would call that warm. I wouldn't call that like, oh my god, that's hot. I'd be like, yeah, that's on the warm side. Also, when you're gaming, are you doing like ultra graphics and stuff like that? Like, you're not saying like, I'm gaming, playing like Solitaire or Minesweeper. You're like testing a decent game. A Be Quiet Pure Base 600? I don't know that one off the top of my head. I'm sure I've seen it. Assassin's Creed Valhalla on very high. I wouldn't consider 80C with Assassin's Creed Valhalla cranked up all the way. I wouldn't consider that crazy. I'd consider that warm. You could probably get it down a few degrees with a better case and a better cooler, but I mean, like, if you're sticking with air cooling, you're not gonna drop your temperature that much. Maybe like you might be able to get like an extra 5 degrees out of it, get it into like the low to mid 70s. Dance for Pedro. Oh my god. But you're not gonna drop your temperature like 20 degrees or anything. Not unless there's something seriously wrong inside the case. Chrome is a problem. That's not your fault, that's Chrome's fault. Chrome is a bit of a resource hog, which is weird considering when it initially came out, it was touted to be all like, we don't use very many resources. And now it's like hands down the worst one. Run the same test with Firefox, and I bet you won't see that response. Like, it may heat up a little bit more, but you're not gonna like peak almost 30 degrees off of opening Firefox. A lot of times, one thing you have to keep in mind is a lot of the temps that you see online, it's when people are all like, oh, my computer's running hot. Hey, what's up, Alexander? They're referring to their idle temp. So if they're like, oh, if your computer's running 80 degrees, you got something seriously wrong. And it's not if you're hardcore gaming. And like, technically speaking, your computer spiking up to 78 for a few seconds and then dropping back down to like the mid 50s, not an issue. CPUs nowadays can take a lot more heat than they used to. And you'll get a lot of people talking about how, like, oh, anything hotter than 70 is crazy. And you're like, well, it's either this inset fear of old processors burning up really fast, which they did, or it's people that are like water cooling everything. Just been lurking, watching, eating. Where is she? Well, she's dead, so. Why are you slowing down? It depends on what you're doing. Hey, what's up, Chromatovu? Awesome. It depends on the computer and everything and the heat sink that you've got, but heat is not nearly as big of an issue for computers as it used to be. Like, it's still a concern, don't get me wrong. It's not like, don't give a damn about how hot your computer gets, it's fine. But processors, you have to try to fry a processor nowadays. hope nobody's there. Alright, I think... Whoa, shite. Bruh. What are you doing? The CPU the cooler getting louder all of a sudden. That's because the thing spikes, and you've got your motherboard set to adjust your CPU fan speed according to the temperature of the processor. So that's not a surprise. The CPU spiking almost 30°C from opening a Chrome tab, that's a little crazy. That's the other thing, is you have to know how to apply thermal paste. Most people put way too much thermal paste. Like, it is insane how much thermal paste most people use compared to what the processor manufacturers suggest. Like, if you look up most processor manufacturers, they give you impossible standards. Because most of them are like, you need to apply an even coating 1 micrometer thick. And you're like, so, like, literally, like, 2 atoms? And they're like, yep, no thicker. And you're like, well, that's impossible. Did I restart? Yeah, I restarted my game yesterday. Would you say if I reinstall a clean Windows that could solve the problem? Unlikely. Maybe a clean install of Chrome might help, because I bet you've got some junk inside Chrome, like some extensions that are completely useless. Nightbot, this is a truck sim he can't save. Nightbot doesn't know. He's there for tonight. You put a little dot in the middle of the CPU. That's what you should do. Put a small dot right in the middle of your processor. No larger than like half the size of a pea. Really? And then the pressure of the heat sink onto the processor should do it. Hello? Was I not stopped? There we go. Yeah, the game auto saves periodically. Just there's no reason for Nightbot to remind me to save. That's unnecessary, Nightbot. Thank you. All right, let's go for. See, the first rank of fuel economy is good, but each one after that's only 5%. At that point, I would go with more hazardous cargo. Let's go 1 level of fuel economy, because 10% is a big jump. Special transports, that's okay. That's not what I wanted. All right, so where am I technically? Pocatello? That's fertilizer or sawdust panels down to Utah. Where am I going? Provo? Sure, why not? Yeah, if you put a small dot in the middle of your CPU and then you use the heatsink to press it down, that's probably fine. What heatsink are you using? Please don't tell me it's the one that came with the processor. It's the one that came with the processor. Shit. It is the stock heatsink? Okay, well there's your problem. Wait, is this a... Oh god, this is a triple. You just applied the stock cooler. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the stock cooler. But you're not gonna... I'm gonna look at my route real quick. That seems simple. Okay. Like, the stock cooler isn't gonna cause any problems. It's just not gonna solve any problems either. Get yourself, and you don't need to go crazy with a cooler either. Get yourself like a $30-something cooler. Thanks, I guess. What kind of processor is it? AMD? Or Intel? I think you said it was an AMD. Well, that's like I said, the stock, there's nothing inherently wrong with the stock cooler. It's just not it's not great. You know, you can buy a $35 cooler that'll drop your temperatures like 10 degrees. Not an expensive addition to get a good difference out of it. You'll definitely switch. The industry standard is the, I think it's a Cooler Master Hyper Evo 212. That's the base that, like, if you're building a mid-grade gaming PC, that's what most people tell people to go with. That CPU cooler's been out for like 10 years and they haven't really changed it because there's not really a need to. Have I heard of Alpenfawn? Sounds foreign. Sorry, that's me. F-O-N. F-O-H-N, sorry. Looks German, maybe? No, it's not you, that's me. CPU cooler. K-U umlaut H-L-E-R. No, I've not heard of them before. I always use a local Texas brand when I tell people not to get certain brands of coolers, but most people have no idea what that brand is. So, like, don't get generic Walmart brand CPU coolers. Get a name brand that you recognize, but it looks really close to the 212 Evo. Yeah, the 212 is, like, look up the 212. And you'll find a ton of copycat coolers from other companies. Just because it's so damn popular and so damn good for being relatively inexpensive. I'm not gonna make that light. The only thing you have to keep an eye on with the 212 is the height. So the height from the motherboard out towards the side of the case. If you're trying to go with smaller cases, that might be too tall. But if you have like a standard thickness computer case, it'll fit. It won't be a problem. mean, it depends on the cooler. Some companies make really high quality stuff really cheaply, so I mean, I wouldn't write off a $23 cooler. Like, don't go spending $35 solely because I said $35. I just meant like don't buy a $10 one. But there's no reason to buy a $100 CPU cooler either. Stick around the $30 to $35 mark and it should be more than fine. Unless the reviews are like utterly crap online. Look up some reviews of the cooler, see what other people say online. Am I using a controller? No, I'm using keyboard and mouse. I could technically hook up my PS5 controller, but I'm much more comfortable with keyboard and mouse. I have much more options. You can bypass the waystation good. I have so many more key commands to use multiple options instead of having to like hold down multiple buttons to toggle adjustments. Bro, you need to wait. I'm up in speed, man. I'm not hitting my brakes. Interstate Oasis, next right. I guess that's their version of a truck stop. I think I tried playing with a controller when I first started playing Euro Truck, like 3 or 4 years ago. And I wasn't a huge fan. I am not very good with dual analogs, so like first-person shooters on console, nope, can't do it. The whole aiming and looking with 2 different sticks simultaneously, I am not that coordinated. Give me a keyboard and mouse and I'll tear you up. Oh yeah, you can clean off the thermal paste, just don't go at it with like sandpaper or anything. Get it with, clean it off with a really good, like a good quality paper towel that's not gonna leave fibers behind. And maybe if you have some rubbing alcohol, you can clean the top of it with rubbing alcohol. But keep the thermal paste off of anything that looks like circuit board. Just keep it onto the metal part. And like you said, just tiny amount right in the center. Brush that sucker down with your, with whatever your CPU cooler is. And it'll spread out. It'll fill up probably like 75–80% of the CPU. Which is really all you need. The metal plate on top of an AMD processor is much larger than the actual core. So... yeah, exactly. Taking off the cooler and seeing how much it's spread will help. It'll let you know, did I put too much last time? Did I put too little? But keep in mind, if it's too little, the amount you need to increase it is very small. So if you only filled up like half the processor, just put like maybe 20% more than you did last time, and that'll probably fill up 80–85% of it. It does not take much thermal paste. You see people online that are like, put a line down the center of your processor, or, you know, put 4 dots on the 4 corners. And I'm like, nope, that's too much. That's too much. I like the off-ramps in American Truck Sim better than Euro Truck. Just, I mean, obviously, because I'm used to them. But the off-ramps in American Truck are more likely than not tend to be like it doesn't steal a lane from the highway. Where in Euro Truck, usually the entire right-hand lane just goes off, and then they add a second lane shortly further down the road. And I've never understood why they do that in Europe. I guess they do. Give me an entire thermal paste tube, that's the amount you need? No. Then there's applying the cooler on the CPU. I heard it's a pain. I think I'll remove the motherboard. Yeah, depending on your cooler, it's easier to take the motherboard out. I will give you that. If the cooler has a back plate, it's definitely easier to take the motherboard out, even if your case has a cutout. Some cases have a cutout for the back plate, so that you can get at the back plate without having to take the motherboard out. I've never really found those reliable or easy to use. Those have always been a pain in the ass. Please pull in for a way. Lame. Watch out, car. I gotta get over. Why'd you pull in here if you were just gonna bypass? Yeah, that's another thing. I mean, later you're gonna have issues where different states in the US do that, but that seems far less common. Say only text and drive? Like, I'm pretty sure that's supposed to say don't. Been playing a lot of BTS2. Nice. Yeah, just because I'm American, I prefer American Truck Sim because it feels more natural to what I've driven on before. But I still play Euro Truck periodically as well. I'm waiting for Texas. Come on. I also like that American Truck and Euro Truck do real life events. So like there was a highway in California that got washed out, and it was washed out for like a year and a half. It was crazy. And during that time period, American Truck Sim released an update that made that portion of that highway unavailable. They had like rocks coming down the mountain onto the highway and everything. It was really cool looking. So they're like, well, now you have to detour around that chunk. And then once they fixed it, they opened it back up. I was like, well, that was really neat. We need an ice road trucker. Dude, I would play an ice road trucker up in Alaska. That would be sick. I used to watch ice road truckers all the time on TLC or whatever. Never gone through one of these in real life, so I'm sitting here going like, okay, pay attention to the lines. Make sure I go to the right place. Have I read any good books lately? I've been rereading some books. I recently reread, God, what was that series? The Ixen Prophecies and the Ixen Legacy series. Those are really good. I'm rereading the Bobaverse right now. Yeah, man, I'll check it out after the stream and I'll let you know what I think. If you have a cooler in mind, throw the cooler in there too. I'll take a look at them. This is what I do for a living, so why not help out my friends? Don't worry, if it annoyed me, I would not have offered. Man, I always thought the Utah license plates looked so good. Texas is boring as hell, dude. Texas had a really cool, like, you remember a few years ago when, this is probably like 10 years ago now, but when like a lot of the states were redoing their license plates all at the same time, and most of the states were doing the thing where they release like their top 6 options and they put it out there and they let people vote online or whatever, what looks the coolest. And Texas voted for this really cool looking license plate that was like, it had like, I can't even remember. It was awesome though. It didn't have the Alamo. It had like the space shuttle taken off and the ocean and some like cowboy stuff going on, and it was really cool looking. And then a bunch of like the uptight rich people were really upset that now they had this really colorful license plate on their plain like white or black cars, and they didn't like the way the license plate clashed with the color of their car. And a whole bunch of rich people complained about it. And then the state was like, you know what, we're gonna go ahead and change. Now it's just plain white background, black letters, nothing else. And like a lot of people were pissed off. They were just like, what the fuck, man? Our license plate looks so cool. Ugh. Rich people. Yeah, I know, right? Why do rich people have to be such assholes? I've got a lot of money. That makes me better than everybody else. No, it doesn't. And the fact that you think that makes you worse than everybody else. Good job, asshole. But like the Utah plate looks so cool. They have that that red sandstone arch thing. I don't know. I think that's in Moab. It looks so awesome. I wish Texas had something cool like that. My turn. Yeah, there was a lot of blue on it. It was really pretty. Alright, I'm gonna drive down the center of the road here and piss everybody off. But I need the room to turn. I don't want you to get on the right side of me, and I don't want you to get on the left side of me. God, it wants it there? You gotta be kidding me. I don't think I can make that. I'm caught on the fence, aren't I? We did it! How much money am I up to? 27,000? Okay. Perfect. Nailed it. Truck dealers. No, Texas has one plate. Yeah, that sucks. It would be cool if they had multiple plates and you could choose. They do have alternate versions, but you have to pay more to get the better looking plates. The default plate is plain black and white, and if you want one of the like prettier looking ones, you have to pay like an extra 30 or 40 bucks a month. Not a month, a year. And I'm like, I'm not spending 40 bucks on a pretty license plate. That sucks. How much are these? Where's the price? $119. It's exactly like owning a vanity plate. Yeah. Exactly what it is. You do have to pay more for the different ones in Georgia too? Okay. Well, looks like you're driving around with a peach on your plate. So I need to save up 200 grand. Okay. Can I? Where's my garage? Truck. How do I go back to my garage? That's not what I want. Like, I want to be able to buy a driver, but I need to upgrade my garage to do that. I guess you'd have to do it manually by taking a job in your hometown, disconnecting your cargo. Alright, let's take a look around here. What are these? What is that, like hazardous? Oversized loads. A giant silo. or a turnkey house construction. Let's take the turnkey house. It's non-articulated, which I like. What's the star? High value. Okay. Let's take a non-articulated first. Articulated would be way harder. And it pays me like $300 more. Not worth. If it was like $3,000 more, I would do it. So it's like a construction site trailer. Okay. Avoid any possible conflict with the escorting vehicles and keep the cargo between them. The rear vehicle moves over first. Okay. Do not drive out of the route, nor filling stations, nor rest stops. Obey speed limitations. Watch out for overtaking traffic and other drivers. So you wait for the pilot cars to go. Okay. It's not very long. Wow, I have police pilot cars? That's a surprise. Thank you. Let's put concrete barriers on the side. Perfect. Why you do this? So far, so good. Not so bad. Awesome. It's not nearly as hard as I thought it was going to be. Do I stop for red lights? I don't know. I guess not. Bruh. Okay. Maybe I should have stopped there, but... Initially I thought the pilot cars went the speed that I could get, that I was going. I'm sorry. The speed that I should be traveling at, and then I realized they speed up with me. So I can speed up and do the speed limit. Bro, come on. Well, I thought I could. And then the cop wouldn't change lanes. I don't think oversized loads pay enough. Like, I could take a job from that city to this city again for like $6,000. It's not an oversized load. And they go much faster. Go through toll booths with one? No, thank you. Just go around the toll booth, man. That's why I like my GPS. That has a no toll booth option on my GPS. I'm like, yep, let's do that. Although there was one time I was in Austin, and they have this toll road through the center of Austin that, I want to say the speed limit on the toll road's like 95 miles an hour. It was great. Bro, it was nuts. I got from one side of Austin to the other in like 5 minutes. And I'm like, that's like a 30-minute drive any other way. Sorry, you were AFK. I don't think this is going to work out, Montana. You're going to need to leave. Did I say something about the build? No. No, I'll check it out after the stream. It's not easy for me to alt-tab and go and check Discord and all that stuff. That's why I tell everybody to post stuff to me in Discord, because I will see that. Here, I really can't see links very well. I usually just don't try. The site's in English, as expected. Oh yeah, if the stream is built around like me having to alt tab, then yeah, I'll do it. But so much easier if it's just links like, hey, check out this video I saw on the internet. I'm like, don't put that here. Put that in Discord. I really hope I don't have any oncoming traffic here. Oh my god. You're killing me, Smalls. Thank God that didn't happen on the bridge. You really like the scenery? This is DLC. This is Idaho, so yes. The base game is California, Nevada, and Arizona, I think? And I think New Mexico is a free DLC. Or was Arizona the free DLC? I forget. But the base game is only like 3 states. Maybe 4. Every other state is a DLC. Yeah, the base game is great. It's thousands of miles of road just by itself. But that being said, the DLC goes on sale all the time for like 75, 80% off. So like you can buy the base game and then wait for a sale, and then pick up 1 or 2 states, and then wait for another sale, and pick up 1 or 2 states. Usually the newest DLC is not for sale, but the previous ones usually have a pretty deep discount. So I think the newest DLC for American Truck Sim is Idaho. Because the 2 they're working on now are Wyoming and Texas. So that would make sense that Idaho was the most recent. And I think I was talking to Alice about this yesterday. Was that I bet Wyoming will probably come out this holiday season, so like November-ish, October, November, Wyoming will probably come out, and Texas probably won't be until spring of next year, if I had to guess.